I know it's kind of hard to pronounce. It's like lace, like the chips, and then la, like duh. So my story is kind of different to you guys. I'm here because of Dr. Rani. Um, I'm not a med student. I'm actually into education, and I recently graduated from the University of Houston downtown with a bachelor's in psychology, and I'm pursuing my master's in higher education administration the spring of 2020. Um, and I'm currently working at Yes Prep home office. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Yes Prep. And also at University of Houston downtown in the provost office. I don't know if you guys know what a provost is, but it's kind of like the same thing as the vice president. Um, and I know what being in high school is. I was recently there too, and I know it's pretty hard. So I'm going to talk about that. And I am actually really impressed with Ms. Kumar. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Yes, she's very wise. Very. I wish I had that type of knowledge when I was in high school. Um, that's actually whenever I had. I'm epileptic too, by the way. So that's whenever I had my first seizure. So whenever I had my first seizure, I felt like I was embarrassed, like I felt alone, like I was weird, and I can no longer pursue my goals because I was different. So no matter what makes you different or who you are or anything, education has no limits. So no matter if you're pursuing education or medicine or arts or whatever you're pursuing, pursue it no matter what is stopping you, economy, your how you look, anything. So I know to me, I feel like I can no longer pursue it because of my disability and because it made me different. But even after that, I felt like I couldn't speak to anybody or like I couldn't reach anybody because of it. But I started coming out of my shell and speaking to my counselors, speaking to people around me close to me about my disability. And when I got to college, I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of people that are different and don't feel ashamed of being different. It's actually what makes you you. So you spoke about college applications, and in my college application, I spoke about my disability. And people actually in college actually like that, speaking about what makes you different. So I spoke about my disability in my college application, and they loved it. I applied to 12 colleges, and I got to all 12 colleges because of my college application. And actually, I got full rights to a couple of colleges because of my college application. So I actually got a full ride to UHD, and they actually gave me money back. So a couple, in semesters, I would be getting money back. So they were paying me to go to college. So tell your story whenever you're applying to colleges, because that's what makes you you. Don't be ashamed to tell your story and what makes you different. Do not be ashamed to tell your story. Like I keep repeating that. I'm so sorry, but do not be ashamed of your differences and of my career, what I'm doing now, and my activities. I know you sent that in the questions that you said. I'm involved in peer mentoring. I love that, and that's actually what got me interested in my goals right now. Um, so what I do is I get the incoming freshmen. What I used to do, it would be like me telling my experiences to them and guiding them in like what classes to take based on their career goals, and tell them like where to go around campus and stuff like that, what food to take, where the free food was and stuff like that. Um, and also that's just kind of like the fun things, but also more serious things like what professors were good, what professors weren't so good, and like things like that. And I also was a canvassing lead. I know when the elections were going on, that's something that really interested me. So we also took part in canvassing. Um, I was in the Yes Prep internship. So since education is something that really interested me, I was part of that. And I hope to work at Yes Prep and keep working at Yes Prep in the future. I also started a UHD support group. So since support is something that really interested me, and support I know is something that really helped me accept my differences. I wanted something like that in my college because there wasn't something like that in my college, and I knew that we needed that. So I went to the director of the Disability Center at my college, and I told her, hey, we need to start something like this in my university because there's not something like that. So she was like, hey, I love the idea, do it. So she gave me money for free food because college students love free food. You guys are gonna discover that whenever y'all get there. So she was like, here's money for free food, do it. So I started it, and people showed up. People actually showed up, and they were like, well, we're really glad you did this. So we kept it going, and even now, whenever the virus is here, we kept it going through Zoom calls, and people actually showed up. So if you believe in something and it's not there, create it. And now I get to put in my resume, hey, I created this. And now that I graduated, it's still going. So I'm really proud of that, to say that I created that and it's still going even now that I left college. And the director, she became a mentor to me because she said, well, you left college and something that you believed in is still going. And even after, months that I believed in that, we actually had a panel. In one of the meetings, we had a panel, and actually Dr. Rani came, and some of my neurologists, some of my nurses came, and we had an event for epilepsy. So that was actually something really awesome too. And also, uh, other things that I've done are leadership programs. So not only with disabilities, but also race, sex, like you guys that want to go into the medical field. There can be people like me without people like you guys. I know that uh, I know that my nurses and my doctors really care about me, like the way they speak to me, the way they care about me. So there can be people like me in the education field without people like you that hopefully go into the medical field. So do not give up in your guys' dreams because, like I said, without people like, if there's not people like you going into the medical field, there's not going to be people like me in the education field. So don't give up in your dreams. Yeah, thanks. And my ultimate goal, I didn't say my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to hopefully become voice the opinions of students in education and to show them that there's no limits in education, no matter how. Because I had to work my whole life since I've been 15 to pay bills, to pay everything. Even though I have seizures, even though no matter, yes, to pay bills, to pay my my insurance, everything. So it still brings and I'm also a first generation graduate, and it still brings my grandma to tears. So that I graduated college. So um, don't uh, don't let anything get in the way. And what was I gonna say? I'm so sorry. My ultimate goal is to be a director or dean or perhaps even a provost, because I know the provost of my university told me his story, and now I get to. He was one of my mentors too. So, and he still is one of my mentors. So I hope to be like him one day, so I could voice the opinions and demonstrate to other students that there's no limits to education, like you guys in the medical field. Thank you.
Wow, Miss Barbosa, that was a really, really good speech, and I feel like you're a great asset to Med Girls. Thank you so much for coming out and just talking about yourself and your experience with college applications.
Studying for testing college, I would suggest it's pretty similar to, not that similar, but somewhat similar to studying for tests in high school. Don't cram. That does not work at all. What I usually would do is start studying at least a week in advance. If you know you have a test, definitely get an agenda or some type of planner. That worked for me. I know my boyfriend's shaking his head over there. That didn't work for him, but for me, it worked a lot. I used to write everything down. Whenever my professor would give me the syllabus at the beginning of the semester, I would write everything down whenever it was due, so I knew at least a week in advance. Okay, I'm gonna have a test. I need to start studying. So that worked for me. For some people, it didn't work, but I know you need to find what works for you. So that worked for me, and I know whenever I studied, I couldn't have any music playing. It had to be a quiet place with lights on, or else I would get sleepy. So it had to be a bright place where I could be quiet and study. I knew some people like play music and stuff like that. For me, that did not work. So you had to find what works for you. If playing music works for you, that works for you. But I know for me, it had to be quiet and I had to have my planner right there and be focused. But like I said, it's what works for you. I'm just gonna go back um, to the one that said, "What is one thing that you would do differently if you knew the outcome of all your work?" Well, actually, I wanted to be a doctor because that's what all moms want their kids to be doctors. But I actually didn't want to be a doctor, and I knew that from the beginning. I knew I wanted to study psychology, so I just told my mom that I was going to be a psychiatrist. Um, so that's what I told her. That's why I started as biology, biochem, and I was taking all my bio classes and stuff like that, and I hated it. So if I would get to do it all over again, I would actually start with what I wanted to do, not what other people's influences would have affected me to do. So just being honest with myself and what my vision would have been. So yeah, not to discourage you guys from staying in the medical field. I definitely admire how you guys. My sister's actually going to be in the medical field, so and she's a junior in Sewanee in Tennessee. So definitely admire her for being in the medical field and all you guys for being in the medical field, but not for me. I see myself in education. But in 10 years, I see myself finishing my PhD and hopefully being the director of a program, hopefully the disability program, or hopefully being a candidate for the dean of students or something like that at a university. You know, praying for that position to voice, like I said, the students. I really hope to have a position like that one day. Um, like Dr. Ronnie said, not for the money, not that's not going to solve the issues, but just to show students that there's no there's no limits to education, no matter sex, no matter race, no matter gender or disabilities. Everybody has a chance for education if they set their minds to it. So.